Believe it or not, there's no legal requirement for drug companies to publish their trial results. So if they're not favourable, they often aren't published.
The International Committee of Medical Journal Editors.
For Dr. Tim Kendall, this almost proved disastrous. He's part of a team that advises the NHS on the best treatments for doctors to use. Last year, using just published trial data, they were about to recommend that Seroxat and the other SSRIs could be prescribed to children for depression. But then the team asked the regulator for the unpublished trial results. These turned the recommendation on its head.
If you'd relied solely on the published data, what would your recommendation have been?
It would have been that we probably would have said, use these drugs. And then there would have been children who might well have killed themselves further down the line as a result of our recommendations.
So what did you think as a scientist when you realised that there was this huge gulf between what was published and unpublished?
We were flabbergasted. We were completely taken aback. None of us had expected that the outcome of this would be that we would have completely changed our recommendations for the use of these drugs.
The president of the Royal College of Psychiatrists is appalled that negative trial results could have been kept from child psychiatrists like him.
I personally felt cheated. And heaven only knows what the children, adolescents and their parents and their GPs on the other end of that felt, very much the same.
If we can't be sure if there are trials that are being withheld or not published for, sometimes years on end, this absolutely shakes the whole foundation of scientific medicine.
When the MHRA announced the Seroxat children's ban last summer, it gave no hint that GlaxoSmithKline could have been aware of the safety concerns for years. It said the ban was based on new information. Richard Brooks says this was misleading.
I felt that the MHRA seemed to suggest it was new information to them and to Glaxo, and that I didn't think was fair. And I had several discussions after the press conference on the very day with the head of post-licensing expressing my concern. We had a meeting subsequently, and in the end we were told that it would be looked at criminally, and anything that we did to raise the issues would be in breach of the procedures and the law that surrounded these sorts of things. In other words, we were warned off about making a fuss about it.
We got hold of a confidential internal GlaxoSmithKline memo. It shows the company knew that Seroxat, also known as paroxetine, didn't work in depressed children as long ago as 1998.
It would be commercially unacceptable to include a statement that efficacy had not been demonstrated, as this would undermine the profile of paroxetine.
In other words, publishing negative trial results in children could seriously damage Seroxat's health and GlaxoSmithKline's profits.
What did you think personally when you read that memo?
I was disgusted, horrified, that people could seriously consider withholding information about the prescribing of a drug that may do harm to children and certainly suggest that they don't work. To withhold that, or to suggest that they should withhold that, I think it's horrific.